Hello, my name is Mackenzie and welcome back for the third and final part of this tutorial series of how to play my arrangement of Let It Be by the Beatles. In video 1 you learned how to play the verse, in video 2 you learned how to play the chorus, and in this video you're going to learn how to play the bridge. It's quite a fair bit of work to this one, so let's get into it. So we start off the bridge by looking at bar 25. We're going to play a bar chord here. You're going to place your index finger across all 4 strings on fret number 5. Then place your middle finger on the E string 6th fret, and then finally the ring finger on your G string 7th fret. You're going to strum that, let that ring out for 1.5 beats. You're then going to come back down, you're going to hit that low G for a half beat. Place the pinky on fret number 8 of the E string. Still keep the middle finger down where it is, you're going to come straight back to that in a moment. So you pluck fret number 8 of the E string for 1 whole beat, you remove the pinky, and as I said, you still have the middle finger there. You're going to hit that note for 1 beat as well. So bar 25 you should have. Bar number 26, we come down and we play an F chord with the left hand. You're going to give that a full strum as well, let that ring out for 1.5 beats. You're then going to come back and hit that low G string for a half beat. Then you're going to place the ring finger onto the E string 3rd fret. You're going to pluck both the C and the E strings together at this point. You're then going to remove the ring finger. You should still have your index finger in place on fret number 1, and you pluck that E string again. So bar 26 you should have. Bar 27, you're going to put the ring finger onto the G string 3rd fret, and then the pinky onto the C string 3rd fret. You're also going to place the middle finger onto the C string 2nd fret. Now that's getting cancelled out by the pinky at the moment, but it just makes life easier when you get halfway through the bar. So you're going to start off by plucking the G and the C strings together, fret 3 on each. You're then going to keep the ring finger where it is. You're going to remove the pinky. You should already have your middle finger in place on fret number 2. Let that ring out for 2 beats each. So bar 27, very straightforward. Into the F chord for bar 28, you're going to start off by plucking the G and the C strings together. Let that ring out for 1 whole beat. You're then going to come from the G string onto the C string. You're then going to do a full downstroke. Then you're going to come up and you're going to hit the E string for half a beat, the C string for half a beat, and the G string for half a beat as well. So bar 28 you will have. Into bar 29, and you should have your middle finger on the G string 3rd fret, your ring finger on the C string 3rd fret, and then your pinky on the E string 3rd fret as well. Take note, I still have my index finger on the E string 1st fret from the previous bar. Again, we're going to need that when we get halfway through bar 29 as well. So your 3, 3 and 3 here, you're going to hit all 3 of those strings together. Let that ring out for 1.5 beats as well. You're then going to come onto the G string for half a beat. You're then at this point going to remove your pinky. As we spoke about previously, you should still have the index finger on fret number 1. You're then going to hit both your C and your E strings together. And then you're going to finish the bar by hitting your C string again. You should still have your ring finger down on fret number 3 the whole way through that bar. So bar 29 on its own. Into bar 30, you're going to place your ring finger on the G string 3rd fret and your middle finger on the C string 2nd fret. You're then going to pluck both the G and the C strings together for 1.5 beats. Then you're going to hit the G string for half a beat. At this point you now want to remove the middle finger from that C string. You're going to pluck an open C. You're going to come down and you're going to hit a low G string as well, still with your ring finger on fret number 3. So bar 30, bar bar 31, the easiest bar in this whole entire piece, you're going to place your middle finger on the G string 2nd fret, let that ring out for 2 whole beats. Then your ring finger on fret number 3 of the G string, play that for 2 beats as well. So bar 31, into bar 32, and you're going to hit the G and the C strings together, both of which are going to be played as open strings. You're then going to place the middle finger onto the E string 3rd fret and your ring finger onto the A string 3rd fret. We want to pluck both the E and the A strings together, and at that point you're then going to do a hammer on with the pinky onto the A string 5th fret. That's going to give you a high D, like so. At that point you want to then remove the pinky, and you're now going to do a full strum across the chord that you've set up. You're then going to pull off with your ring finger, like so. That's going to give you an A. You're still going to keep the middle finger on the E string 3rd fret, however, and that's going to be the final note that you pluck in the bar. So bar 32 altogether will give you into bar 33, and we're going to go into an F shaping again, and we're going to pluck the G, the C and the E strings all together. You're going to let that ring out for 1 whole beat. We're then going to go down into the G string onto the C string, both of which have been played for half beats, and then we're going to do a full strum across that F chord. We're then going to do a hammer on with the ring finger on the left hand onto fret number 3 of the A string. We're then going to hit that same note again. We should have 2 high C's popping through there. The first one is a hammer on, the second one we pluck. And then we finish off the bar by doing a pull off from the 2nd C onto the open A. So the second half of the bar will give you that idea there, and the bar as a whole will give us that. We're then going to go into a C5, so we're going to place that middle finger back onto the E string 3rd fret and the ring finger onto the A string 3rd fret. We're going to do a full downstroke across that chord, let that ring out for 1 whole beat. You're then going to come back and hit that low G for half a beat, and at this point you want to change the fingering with the left hand. So rather than have the middle finger and ring finger down, we're going to do a partial bar. So what I'm doing is I'm only barring across the E and the A strings, but I'm making sure I'm hitting both of them with the index finger. At this point I'm going to hit both my E and my A strings together. You've got a choice as to whether or not you wish to pluck those, or if you want to do just a mini upstroke. If you do a mini upstroke, there's a good chance you might catch the C string with it. That's really not the end of the world, but that's really your call. So we hit the E and the A strings together. We're then going to come up and hit the G string on its own again, and then we're going to place the ring finger onto the A string 5th fret, and then the pinky onto the A string 8th fret. That final note is going to be rung out for 1 whole beat. So bar 34 altogether will give us onto bar 35, and we're going to place the middle finger on fret number 10 of the G string, then the index finger on fret number 9 of the C string, ring finger on fret number 10 again, this time of your E string, and finally your pinky on fret number 12 of the A string. We're going to do a downstroke across all 4 strings, let that ring out for 1 whole beat. We're then going to come back and hit the C string followed by the E string, then another downstroke. At this point we're going to then remove the pinky from fret number 12 of the A string, and you've got a choice here. I tend to just bend the ring finger down to cover fret number 10 of the A string as well at this point. If you don't want to do it that way, you can easily just take the pinky down and put that into fret number 10 of the A string instead. Again, that's player's choice. I like the idea of bending it just purely because the finger's as good as there anyway. So we hit the A string 10th fret, then we come back onto the G string on fret number 10 still as well, and then the following chord comes in half a beat earlier than usual, so we're going to come back to that in a moment. So what we have in bar 35 up to this point is that there. At this point, as stated, the next chord comes in half a beat earlier than normal, so this is the very tail end of bar 35 going into bar 36. We're going to come back and we're going to do another bar chord, barring on fret number 5 again, middle finger on the E string 6th fret, ring finger on the G string 7th fret. This is the exact same shape that we did at the very start of the bridge, but this time we're going to place the pinky on fret number 8 of the A string as well. You're going to start here by doing an upstroke for this. You're going to let that ring out for one whole beat. The first half beat comes in at the tail end of bar 35. The second half beat comes in at the beginning of bar 36. We're then going to do another upstroke, and then we're going to go on to plucking the C string. Then we want both your C and your E strings together. Again, you've got a choice of whether or not you wish to do a pluck of the two strings like that. I like just doing a mini upstroke across that two strings. Then we're back onto the G string, another upstroke across all four strings, back onto the C string, and then another upstroke covering the A, E, and C strings. So the final half beat of bar 35 into bar 36, we should have into bar 37, and we're now going to move our bar up onto fret number 8. Now, if you keep that same shaping that we've just done, you shouldn't have an awful lot of work to do by the time you get into bar 37. Okay, if we move that all up so that your bar is now in place over fret number 8, the pinky should as good as be where you need it to be. We need that to be on fret number 12 of the A string. You need your ring finger to be on fret number 10 of the G string, and you just need to take your middle finger up onto the C string instead of the E string where it was in the previous bar. So we're going to start bar 37 by plucking the G string into the C string. Then we're going to hit the E and the A strings together. And then we're going to do a downstroke across all four strings, straight onto the G string from there. And at this point, you're going to remove the pinky from fret number 12 of the A string. You're also going to remove the ring finger from fret 10 of the G string as well. You're going to hit the A string on fret number 8, and then you're going to do a hammer on using your ring finger onto fret number 10 of that A string as well. So that's going to give you, just for that final two notes, that, and the bar as a whole, we should have that. Keep your ring finger on fret number 10 of the A string. Everything else can get removed. And you're going to do a full downstroke across all four strings. You're then going to come back and hit your C string into the E string, back onto the G string this time. You're then going to hit your E and your A strings together, back onto the C string and onto the E string. So bar 38 altogether. Into bar 39, and we're back onto that B flat shaping that we've already done a couple of times in this bridge so far. So barring on fret number 5, middle finger on fret number 6 of the E string, ring finger on fret number 7 of the G string. We're going to come down and do a downstroke for one whole beat. You're then going to come and hit the C string with your thumb. Place your pinky at this point onto fret number 8 of the E string. Do a mini upstroke there just to cover your E and your C strings. If you want to double pluck that, that's perfectly okay. I like the idea of doing upstrokes there. I like the effect that it gives. Once we've done that, we're going to go back onto the G string, and then we're going to remove the pinky. You should still have your middle finger on fret number 6. Another mini upstroke just to cover the two middle strings, your C and your E strings together. back onto the G string, and we finish up the bar by plucking the E string. So bar number 39, everything together, will give us that. And finally, we move back into an F chord. We're going to strum the C, E, and A strings together. You're then going to move on to the G string, place your ring finger onto fret 3 of the A string. You're going to hit your E and your A strings together. You're then going to follow that up by doing a hammer-on by placing the pinky onto fret number 5 of that A string. That two notes together will give you that. We then keep the ring finger where you have it. If you can, if you want to take it off to stretch up to that 5th fret with your pinky, that is okay. Just remember to replace it if that's the case. So ring finger on your 3rd fret of your A string. Place your middle finger back onto fret 3 of your E string. You're then going to do a full downstroke across that chord. You're going to do a pull off from your ring finger to show an open A, like so. You're then going to pluck the E string and finally the G string. And for the most part, that covers the bulk majority of the bridge. Now, in the original version that the Beatles did, they actually went and did something slightly different from this point. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I really enjoyed bars 33 through to bar 40 so much that I just simply repeated it. So, largely because I really liked that side of it. So, with that in mind, for my arrangement, bars 41 through to bar 47 is the exact same as what you've just done. For bar 48, it's as good as the same as what you've just done. You start off with your F chord. Again, you're still going to strum your C, E, and A strings together. For one whole beat, you're then going to hit your C string into your E string. And then you're going to remove all of that with your left hand. You're going to strum an open chord. And then you're going to come down with your ring finger onto the E string 3rd fret, back onto the G string, and finishing up with the C string. And that's going to take you back into the chorus again. So that's going to give you and that is the bridge. And that concludes not only this video, but it also concludes the tutorial series in general. Over the course of the 3 videos, you have learned how to play the verse, the chorus, and finally the bridge. It's just simply now a case of piecing it all together. I really hope that you've enjoyed the content. If you have, please like and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all covers that I post and also for future tutorials as well. If you have requests for any future tutorials as well, please drop me a message into the comments, and if it's something that I'm able to do, I'm more than happy to look at it for you. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Until next time.